What would happen if you went back from the present to the past, several centuries into medieval Japan? The anime discussed here is historical fantasy. It is based on the life of Hojo Tokiyuki, a real figure and heir to the shogunate of Japan in the 1300s. The plot leads us into the story of the young Lord Tokiyuki, who tries to restore his family's rule after the fierce warrior Machigatteiru betrays and overthrows the Hojo clan. But let's start from the beginning. To fall bravely in glorious battle, to end one's life with honor. Honor is only bestowed through battle and death. It was in such a time of strife that a man lived who changed the course of history. Although it all began quite peacefully. Living in peaceful Kamakura, Tokiyuki didn't want to study and avoided it in every possible way. He mastered the skill of evasion and easily escaped trouble. His father, a puppet ruler, gave him little freedom. He was the future shogun, but it seemed the 8-year-old boy hadn't yet understood his destiny and was just having fun. During one of his escapes, Hojo meets Suwa Yorigige. Yorigige is a priest who encounters Tokiyuki under a blooming sakura tree and tries to convince him that he will play a significant role in Japan's history. The boy assumes the man is a charlatan and runs away. Soon, Tokiyuki is betrayed by someone he admired. The fierce warrior Machigatteiru overthrows the Hojo clan, kills the people of Kamakura, and burns the settlement. Tokiyuki is the sole survivor. His elder brother wasn't so lucky. He was the illegitimate son of the previous ruler, and thus a claimant to power. His uncle handed him over to the new ruler, where the boy was beaten and executed. Saved with the help of the strange priest from Suwa, the Hojo heir vows revenge. However, Tokiyuki is too weak on his own. His only strong skill is running away from trouble. So Yorigige tells him that he can only succeed with loyal allies who will protect him, teach him new things, and help him achieve his plans. Therefore, the boy needs to form a team. Initially, there were 3 of them: the strange priest who can foresee the future, his assistant with mysterious powers, and Tokiyuki, the elusive escape artist. Soon, 2 more people join the team. Together, they play a board game from the modern world. Turns out, not everything is so simple in this story. Kojiro Nezo and Ayaka Makizuki, children from families that serve the Suwa clan, join the group. They are trained in martial arts and will protect and help Tokiyuki. And now the moment has come. Young Hojo becomes bait for his crazed, demon-like uncle. The man knew where to find the child and rushed to the spot. The allies failed to catch the demon off guard. It turned out that he was very strong, once having been the personal bodyguard of the clan head. The battle becomes a game of tag with the demon. Suddenly, Yorigige asks Ayaka and Kojiro not to interfere and instead watch the prince. Tokiyuki's skill at dodging danger is so finely honed that it allows him to predict the enemy's strikes. It's clear the boy enjoys the chase, and the priest calls him the demon of survival. Now the allies must help by protecting the boy and setting the opponent up for the prince. Without this, Hojo wouldn't be able to land a serious blow and behead his insane uncle. After the victory, Tokiyuki thanks the team and once again vows to avenge Kamakura. In a few years, he will turn all of Japan upside down. But until then, he must learn and grow. The young heir ends up in the lands of Yorigige, Suwa Taisha. There, he attempts to escape from the priest, who offers to begin his training. However, the boy fails, falling twice into wolf pits set by Yorigige, who had foreseen his escape attempts. The boy still doesn't believe in the priest's abilities and divine gift, so Suwa decides to demonstrate his talents. He finds the escape artist and swears that Tokiyuki will succeed in the future, and then stops the rain, making the droplets return to the sky. After this, Tokiyuki sees the people, Bushi warriors who revere and are loyal to the Suwa clan. The lord decides to start learning. After the death of his relatives, the boy must recruit vassals from scratch. Now, his team includes Kojiro, a swordsman, Ayako, a strong girl skilled in arts, and Shizuku, a master of various mysteries and housekeeper. Yorigige instructs Tokiyuki to recruit all talents he encounters on his path. Deciding to take action, the group goes hunting. In the forest, they encounter a demon boar. Tokiyuki distracts the boar while his allies smash stones and set a trap. Luring the boar toward a larch tree, they make it fall onto sharp debris. It was likely an ancient beast that, unable to find a mate, turned into a demon. After their victory, the group goes to the hot springs. They decide on a name for their squad, the Elusive Avengers. The Lord needs to do more than run. He also needs to learn to defend himself. It is decided to develop his archery skills. The boy shoots well but has no experience shooting on the move. Without warning, Agasawara arrives, a servant of Machigatteiru, the man who wiped out Kamakura. This keen-eyed man demands the priest hand over the traitors, but the priest denies seeing any. However, the former subordinate is not convinced. He has very sharp eyesight and is also a master archer. Deciding to demonstrate his abilities, The governor shoots through a shrine maiden's ear and leaves. The prince acknowledges Sadane's ruthless nature, but also sees his skill in archery, so the boy decides to learn from his powerful opponent. At a dog shooting competition, Ogasawara and Hojo face off. The outcome will determine whether Sadane can storm Suwa with his troops to weaken the Suwa clan, or whether he will stop ravaging Suwa's lands under his new title. The archers must score points by shooting at dogs and each other. Ogasawara moves into a blind spot and shoots Tokiyuki in the head from behind. The boy feels pain and blood on the back of his head. Tokiyuki has 2 arrows left. Yorigije told him to shoot on the move. Tokiyuki manages to twist in his saddle and shoot his opponent in the neck. The rider falls off his horse, and Hojo scores by shooting through his ear while flying over his opponent on horseback. This is called the Parthian shot. The Suwa clan wins, and Sadane retreats in disgrace. However, the next day, Ogasawara returns with a new decree to confiscate Suwa's lands for aiding the rebels. Yorigige asks the young heir to help steal the decree of confiscation. To do this, the group must recruit Gembo Kazama, a professional thief. When they arrive in the village where this man lives, they learn that Gembo is not very well liked. Meanwhile, they meet the thief himself. He says he only works for money, but the prince convinces him with a promise of his own land in the future. Gembo and Tokiyuki set off to steal the decree. Using his fox mask, the thief can change faces and distract the guards. However, their conversation in the storeroom is overheard by a warrior with sharp hearing. He gives the order to capture the thieves and raise an army. Escaping from the building, he throws smoke bombs, blinding the warriors. Kojima and Ayako distract the men, but Tsukafusa Ichikawa, the keen-eared uncle with excellent hearing, realizes the boys are hiding in the grove and moves to lure them out. Gembo wants to escape, but the enemy, hearing him, swings his sword and injures Tokiyuki, who shields the thief. The group escapes pursuit, and Hojo swears loyalty to Gembo, which touches his companion. To find the boys, Tsukafusa joins Ogasawara. Now, they can aim their arrows by sound. Realizing the prince won't make it far with his injury, Gembo saves him by distracting and disarming 2 pursuers. The storage building containing important documents is burned, along with the decree of confiscation. Yorigige tells the group that in the capital, the first son of Emperor Go-Daigo, Prince Moriyoshi, rose against Ashikaga Takauji. He wanted to kill the warrior, but the fight unexpectedly ended in Takauji Oni's favor. He killed everyone around, leaving Moriyoshi empty-handed. When others arrived at the scene, they seemed hypnotized, concerned only for Lord Takauji. It's 1334, half a year since Kamakura's fall. The country is quiet, but peace hasn't come to Suwa. The priest temporarily loses his gift of foresight, and a former bandit, Shokan, is sent to gradually seize Suwa's lands. To understand what's happening in one of the villages, the elusive Avengers set off on a reconnaissance mission. Near the manor, they encounter a skilled 2-sword fighter. The young man continues fighting until he sees Shizuku among the participants. It turns out they know each other. The girl fed him in Suwa. She recognizes him. It's Fubuki. The sides reconcile. It turns out that Fubuki is a wandering swordsman looking for a worthy master. He came to the village in search of food, but saw it being ravaged by Ogasawara's troops and decided to help the settlement. Only the children survived. Fubuki fended off 3 attacks from the squads. The young man taught the children various skills, allowing them to defend themselves. Nakayama Manor is an important strategic point, and Shokan's commander definitely understands this. The elusive Avengers decide to stay in the village and face the enemy's attack. The village prepares for battle, and meanwhile, Tokiyuki asks Fubuki to teach him deadly techniques. The master decides to teach the boy the Sword of Buddha. This is a kind yet cruel martial art. At night, the enemy army attacks. Warriors from Suwa, whom Shizuku managed to bring, join the children. The defense goes well. However, among the attackers are dangerous warriors. Fubuki manages to kill one of them. Meanwhile, Ayako and Kojiro lure Shokan into a house trap with a Buddha statue. There, Tokiyuki confronts him. Tokiyuki's task is to wear down the armored demon and strike the weakened opponent. Meanwhile, Kojiro and Ayako distract one warrior, while Fubuki takes on a dangerous and slightly mad bandit. In the room, young Hojo dodges Shokan's attacks, wounding his wrist and causing him to slowly bleed out. Tokiyuki remembers Fubuki's teaching. He only needs to land one precise blow that will later prove fatal. Kojiro and Ayako struggle against their powerful opponent, but Shizuku joins them. The team manages to injure and then kill the bandit. Meanwhile, Fubuki deals with his opponent. The battle between Shokan and Hojo continues. The room is covered in blood. and the commander begins losing consciousness as he fails to keep up with the boy. The man sees Buddha. Unexpectedly, Sadane's squad arrives at the manor. The defenders would have been in trouble, but Suwa's army arrives in time, scaring the enemy away. It turns out that Sadane saved Shokan's life, just barely. Had they been a moment later, he would have bled out. Fubuki is introduced to Yorigide. Tokiyuki confesses to the master that he is the heir of the Hojo clan and wants Fubuki to become his vassal. Fubuki agrees. The priest confesses to the young lord that he has lost his gift of foresight. He asks for help to reactivate it without anyone knowing. The boy carries out tasks for the priest. First, he brings an eel, but it doesn't restore the priest's powers. Then he brings a bow, takes a rope, and later even retrieves the priestess's clothes. This strange behavior causes the boy's companions to wonder what's going on with him. Lately, he's been acting very odd. While the boy fashions a priestess from straw and clothing, his friends observe him. Later, he overhears their conversation. They think he's becoming perverted. Angered by their assumptions, the boy rushes to the cunning priest, demanding he explain everything to the vassals. Yorigide persuades Tokiyuki to carry out one final task: fetch water from a sacred spring beneath the mountain. When the boy arrives at the location, he sees Shizuku performing the Kagura dance, an offering to the gods. She explains that she is doing it with friends. To help the prince understand, she transfers energy to him. Before his eyes, divine beasts living in Suwa's sacred lands appear. Even the boar the group had previously escaped is present. The girl understands why Tokiyuki came and gives him water from the spring. Meanwhile, in the palace, brothers Tadayoshi and Takauji Ashikaga meet. They plan to strengthen Kamakura and Kyoto. After a short discussion, the head shows Tadayoshi his drawing of Buddha. However, Tadayoshi only looks from a distance. He suspects that his brother may not be human at all, given how strangely he portrays Buddha, depicted in the jaws of a beast. Less than a year and a half remain before the battle between the brothers who seized the country and Tokiyuki. Meanwhile, the heir brings Yorigide the sacred water. The boy has many questions and wants to know more about Shizuku. The man explains that the animals seen at the spring are called divine creatures. Information about the mysterious girl, however, will come later. The priest notes that the more things hidden from the eyes are revealed, the less magic and wonder there is. Simply put, the more people's influence grows, the less divine things remain. Yorigide advises the boy to live in pleasure and accept the changes happening around him. And now let's move on to how the priest's desires were revealed. No one expected this. Look at how Moritoko burns with shame in the background. We can't know for sure if Yorigide is a pervert, but there's no doubt that after being struck in a certain place, he became filled with divinity.